I want to bring in Vivek Ramaswamy, 37 years old. He's running in the GOP nomination process. He has been moving up in the polls, okay? He just qualified for the first debate. Let's talk about why and what he's offering and his take on what is besetting the former president. It's good to see you again. I told you I would keep having you come back as it goes along and as warranted, and you have momentum. Now, I want to go back to something that I asked you the first time I had, because I really liked the second part of the answer, was about philosophy and identity of what it is to be American and what values you want to put back on the table. I liked it. The first part, I felt you ran past too first. I said, as a 37-year-old, you have a unique burden for all your success, and it is prodigious, to let people know, I'm ready. And you said no one should have the hubris to think that they're ready for this job. The American people want to know that you think that you're ready. So at 37, they're going to be where he hasn't done anything like this before. He doesn't have that kind of experience in government or abroad. What do you say to people with those concerns? Wildly impressed with your success and your charisma, but concerned that this is a hard first job.
Look, it's not my first job. That's the first thing I would say. I've built multi-billion-dollar businesses. I've created work for thousands of people. I've also developed medicines that have helped save people's lives. I've interfaced with the regulatory state. I understand how to lead people. I actually think my status as an outsider is going to be an asset in leading this nation forward, both when it comes to foreign policy and, yes, when it comes to domestic policy here, Chris, at home as well. And I think my combination is unique. It's part of what called me into this race. I do think it takes an outsider, somebody who has been a CEO, somebody who has actually led people, including honestly generating wealth in the private sector. Trump did some of that, but to combine that with also somebody who has a deep understanding of the Constitution and the laws of this country. And so, Chris, when it comes down to shutting down the administrative state, when it comes to declaring independence from communist China, when it comes to exactly how to grow the economy, and maybe most importantly, how to reach and inspire young people to be proud of this country again, I think I am the single candidate in either party who has the best understanding of how to actually do it. And I think if you look at this race, we have also offered unprecedented detail on exactly how we would go about accomplishing it. And so that's my case for saying I'm ready for the job. We're actually running to lead this nation to a national revival. I think about my destination is not November 2024. That is the start line. January 2033, when I leave office, that's the true destination.
Are you moving up in the polls because you are the Trumpiest of the field except for Trump, and you're using his ideas, some of which would be criticized as extreme ideas, and that's why you're getting the resonance that you're getting, because you're basically the echo of Donald Trump for his supporters?
I think the reason I'm moving up strikingly in the polls this quickly, this early, is because I am speaking the truth without apology. I am untethered. I am the only candidate, you could argue except for Trump, but certainly in this race, who is untethered from the super PAC class. We have a lot of super PAC puppets in the race. I actually think we should have less influence of mega money on politics in both parties, but including the Republican Party. And I'm untethered to actually speak the truth without apology. My sense, Chris, is that voters have a good sixth sense for whether they're being fed some poll-tested slogan or someone's actual convictions. That's what I think is actually lifting us up. I also think I'm the only candidate of anybody in this race who is actually leading us to something. The rest of the field, they're running from something. I'm leading us to something, to our vision of what it means to be an American. I think people are hungry for that. We lack a national identity today. I'm the only candidate who's speaking to how we revive that national identity and offer tangible solutions for actually delivering it. So that's what I think is lifting us up.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of NewsNation's fact-driven coverage.